This Fontanian device of mechanical motion is quite curious indeed.
Now is hardly an opportune time for your musings. Someone among us was not sufficiently attentive, and now the kite has vanished.
Calm yourself. Do you have any recollection of its last location?
One believes it drifted in the direction of Mount Outsong. Perhaps it is mere happenstance, but one feels a certain sense of dread at the thought.
Your concern is misplaced, surely. Cloud Retainer is either in the city looking after her disciples, or secluded in her abode attending to her research. She will not notice that kite. On the subject of said kite, however, one simply must remark on the genius of its windlass lift technology. One cannot help but surmise that its ingenuity rivals that of Cloud Retainer's creations.
Still thy tongue. If Cloud Retainer were to hear you profess such a thing, we can both say farewell to any further use of the Supreme Cuisine Machine.
One presumes that this kite belongs to you.
Huh?
Regard the situation with which we are now confronted. This is all your fault.
One's fault. One seems to recall that releasing the kite was no solitary endeavor. Say something, Mountain Shaper. Surely you can think of something to appease her.
Further explanation shall only fan the flames of her wrath. It would be better to stay silent and retire at the earliest opportunity.
We can hardly avoid her forever. That may suffice during Lantern Rite. But what about the Moon Chase Festival? Sooner or later, she will discover our true identity.
Hello?
Go retrieve the kite.
Absolutely not. You retrieve it.
That is not our kite.
Oh, so an adeptus such as oneself is mistaken then?
Ah, you're an Adeptus? Please forgive us for any impropriety. I truly possess no inkling of who could have released a kite into your esteemed domain. Pray, who could be responsible for such wanton behavior?
Verily, verily, we were but delighting in the surrounding scenery. This locale is home to such exquisite... mint! Well, and if that's all, then we'll just be on our way.
We finally caught up. You sure do fly fast in your illuminated bird form, Xinyan. Mooncarver? Mountain Shaper? What are you doing here?
You?
Okay, now Paimon's getting a weird vibe. Did she say something wrong?
It is of no consequence. Long has one seen through their disguises. One was simply curious as to how long they would keep up the act.
Then you are not angry?
How could one feel anger at the sight of two old friends enjoying themselves? One is also well aware of how enticing these city novelties can be.
We were simply consumed by a fit of festive spirit. Seldom do we get the opportunity to partake in the delights of the times. However, we are far from being as adept as you in matters that require a deftness of hand. No worthy kite could be born of our own making. Thus, we could only take the convenient route, so to speak.
Your prowess in mechanics is unparalleled, Cloud Retainer. You wield the wind and waves themselves. Your singular talent stands unmatched across the land. Of this, we are well aware.
One has guests to attend to. We will have to convene again some other time. Traveler, Paimon, do try to keep up.
We're leaving already? All this flying from place to place is wearing Paimon out.
So Leute, ich wollte eigentlich diesen Part nicht sagen eigentlich, weil ich schon etwas ausgelaugt bin von den ganzen Videos machen und noch Hausarbeiten, aber Ich musste was sagen, weil die zwei. Oh, alle die zwei, ey. Ich musste gerade so lachen, wo die beim Kahn und dann Bastard. Und wollte ich.
It seems that one's concern was misplaced after all.
Then, should we continue flying the kite?
Die
A
zwei.
splendid suggestion, but it would be advisable to change locations.
Perhaps your mountain would suffice? It is more than spacious enough.
A fine idea. A fine idea indeed.
They're back.
Paimon's pooped. Hi. Why are there only two of you left?
After you left, Yao Yao and Shu Yu tired themselves out playing with their kites. Gao Ming offered to escort them home.
Before he left, he said something that I don't quite understand.
Oh? What did he say?
He said, a kite is always tied down no matter how far it flies or how high it soars. Its tether prevents it from ever truly flying free. He looked quite dejected as he said this.
Now that you mention it, Gao Ming did seem to have a rather strange attitude towards kites.
A reflection of himself. If I were a kite, I would cherish that tether as a symbol of kinship and the bonds that tie us and...
Shenhe?
It may be an exceedingly slim and distant connection, but lose it, and you lose that which links you to home. If Gao Ming truly sees a kite as a reflection of himself, then I fear I understand his words even less.
Well, people often have different points of view depending on their mindset and experiences, right? It's actually quite normal.
Just like some people can eat spicy food, but others won't go anywhere near it?
Exactly. That's why tolerance and understanding are as important as they are.
Tolerance and understanding? What brought about this conversation? Did one miss something?
We were just chatting. You don't have to butt in on every little thing, you know. Where were you anyway?
One was merely doing a bit of cooking. Night fast approaches. If you are otherwise unoccupied, one would entreat you to stay and eat before you depart.
Oh, it's been so long since I've had the chance to enjoy your cooking, Cloud Retainer.
Worry not. One has prepared a variety of meat and vegetable dishes. One is more than familiar with everyone's culinary proclivities. Shenhe, Ganyu, come with me.
Whoa, what's with all the secrecy? You're not trying to play favorites, are you? If you're ready to serve the food, we can help too. We're finally here. Does this place feel familiar to you, Granny, one day?
Let me see. How strange. Have I lived here before? When we were at Wangshu Inn and the abandoned house earlier, though I couldn't remember everything, I still felt a sense of familiarity. I could easily picture myself in those places. But here, I don't have that feeling. Perhaps I did come here in the past, but it just didn't leave a strong impression on me.
But did the stories get it wrong then? Yeah, that's true. But they're also the only thing we have to go off of. Paimon was hoping this place would jog Granny Uendai's memory just like the others.
I'm sorry to disappoint you too.
It's all right. We're not going to give up yet. We'll figure something else out. Just you wait.
Thank you. If only I could remember. Huh? That way. What's that mountain?
Oh, let Paimon look! Huh? Isn't that Mount Outsong? Looks like we've come full circle.
Mount Outsong. Mount Outsong.
Granny, are you okay? Don't push yourself, Granny. It's okay if you can't remember. You shouldn't do something that makes you sad.
Mount Outsong, What am I really?
Mount Outsong holds some familiarity to you?
It does, but I can't go back.
Are you feeling unwell?
My head, it feels all heavy and dizzy. What is wrong with me?
Cloud, Miss Xianyun, is there anything you can do?
Let us go to Mount Outsong.
But...
Fret not, all will be well. You and I, you have already given more than enough to the pursuit of this endeavor. You may leave the rest to me. I've prepared something that can aid you in suppressing the fear in your heart and restoring your lost memories. It currently resides at Mount Outsong.
Wait, really? When did you do that?
I never leave anything to chance. All will reveal itself when we arrive.
So, gehen wir mal zu den Berg. Ist nicht da...
Too slow.
Was ist jetzt mit der Mission? Danke. Ach ja.
This is...
I can feel the wind brushing against my legs. This is a bit embarrassing. Is the headpiece secure? I should have asked Cloud Retainer to check before I stepped outside.
How do we look?
She asked them just like that?
You look pretty too, Ganyu! Oh, how should Paimon put it? You both look so elegant and refined! Those outfits really suit you both!
Given that one employed the services of the best tailor in all of Liyue, one would expect nothing less. What colors have you been partial to lately, Shenhe and Ganyu?
Lately? Why is Cloud Retainer suddenly asking about what colors we like?
I like black.
One is gratified to see one's disciple has inherited one's own tastes.
The color black doesn't get dirty easily. A virtue I've come to value recently.
And you, Ganyu?
I favor blue and black.
And the material is sufficiently comfortable, yes?
Yes, very. I simply cannot thank you enough, Cloud Retainer. For this gift. And the kite, too.
Thank you, Master.
One is content, as long as you are pleased with the gift. One hopes these garments will see much use.
Seems like your supreme cuisine machine is just getting better and better, Xianyun! This golden crab's particularly good. The shell's deliciously crunchy, and the meat inside is so succulent and sweet! Paimon can't stop eating. It's a good thing Gaming isn't here, or Paimon would have to duel him for the food. You know, with chopsticks.
He traveled all this way on account of the kite-making workshop, and he spent the whole afternoon looking after Shuyu. One was hoping to treat him to a meal. Oh well. One will just have to extend one's thanks in person.
It's rare for someone to make such a good impression on you, Cloud Retainer.
One has high standards. He appears to be a young man of much merit, and one is not the type who would see such potential squandered.
It appears that he wishes to break free from the kite string that tethers him.
Kite string? Huh, what strange metaphors you speak in, Shenhe. Ever since you returned from one mean restaurant, your turns of phrase render one at quite the loss.
Where do we even begin? Oh, do you know about the conflict between Gaming and his dad, Xianyun?
One has only heard that the two are not on good terms.
He ran away from home and hasn't been back since.
Oh?
Ran away, you say? Huh. One believes we would all benefit from a more thorough retelling. Start from the beginning.
Oh, okay. Paimon just hopes he won't mind.
What?
This shall not do. Lantern Rite fast approaches. We must make haste. As one was contacting various tailors around Liyue, one could not help but be reminded of Menogias. He possessed a singular talent for clothing design. He had an exquisite eye, not just for fabric selection and color pairing, but also for what accessories could best accentuate a garment's overall styling. At a gathering of Adepti, Bonanis once complained in secret to some of the ladies in attendance that the skirt Menogias made for her was too long and impractical, lamenting that it would only hinder her in battle. However, when one asked Menogias' opinion, he remarked that the train of the skirt would serve to enhance her adeptal countenance by exemplifying a certain elegance. Menogias was that type of person. When it came to topics relating to garments and accessories, not even Rex Lapis could best his stubbornness. And later... one seems to have strayed off topic. One means to say that Lantern Rite should be a day of reunion. It is a time to address problems before they turn into regrets. Fate is fickle. The cruel reality of this world is that suffering and misfortune can befall any of us without design or reason. If there is a chance for young people to remain insulated from this reality, one should do one's utmost to make it so.
That's nice and all, but...
Do you have any ideas, Cloud Retainer?
Perhaps adeptal arts could be of use. No. Mechanics, perhaps. One fails to see its use in a situation such as this.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Combining our efforts is a fine idea indeed. Aha! One has an idea. How about this? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yep. Oh, Paimon really hopes this works.
One's designs never fail. Now then, I counsel rest for all, and to make the necessary preparations. One shall see you in 2 days.
Quit following me.
Come on, just tell Paimon already! What's this thing you've prepared?
Here, this is it.
Huh? But isn't this the mechanism that you were tinkering with when we first got here? Oh, is it another invention of yours?
Precisely. A recent one at that. I am most pleased with the result. I call it the Suspensus Somnium mechanism. It periodically releases a soft breeze, which when paired with a gentle adeptal tune, can help the listener subconsciously relax and even enter a semi-hypnotic state. Soothing agitation and anxiety, relieving exhaustion and insomnia, its potential uses are numerous indeed. And of course, it can also aid in the recovery of lost memories.
Whoa, what a cool gadget! But if you had it all along, why did you keep it to yourself until just now? We could have come to Mount Outsong right off the bat and saved Paimon a lot of floating.
How preposterous. Had Yuendai not recalled much of her past through her own efforts, the device would have nothing to draw upon. We Adepti can only help those who first resolve to help themselves. Had she lacked such determination and strength of character, one would have little to offer in way of assistance.
Paimon thinks she gets it now. Hey, what's that other thing?
As previously mentioned, a gentle adeptal tune is required to take full advantage of the mechanism. One secured such a tune from Streetward Rambler. Only with her melodies can the mechanism reach its peak power.
Whoa, Paimon can feel what you mean. Paimon's body feels light as a feather. It's as if she's lying down on a warm patch of grass after a super satisfying meal.
And you, Yuendai, is the mechanism helping you to relax? It appears she has already succumbed to the depths of reverie. Come, join one on this side. We shall give her some time to herself.
The drought is over. But why do you look like you want to cry?
The potion. It's nearly run its course.
I've never regretted meeting you. Not even for a second.
Please. Please, no. Have you forgotten? This is the world you left behind. One of gentle breeze and morning dew, perfectly straddled betwixt the realms of heaven and earth. This is your home. This is where you belong. You should have never left. The you of the past, the me from not that long ago, we should have never.
So that is the truth. No wonder this place is so familiar.
Granny! Granny, are you okay?
Cloud Retainer.
Your memories have returned?
Wait, did you just call her by her full name? Does that mean you already knew each other?
Yes, I now remember everything. Everything.
Granny, please don't cry. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, don't worry, my dear child. Granny is fine. I'm so sorry, everyone. You've gone to so much trouble on my behalf. It's all come back to me now. The most important thing that I had forgotten was the truth of what I once was.
One can sense the guilt that now plagues your conscience. Reclaiming a truth long buried is sure to come with a myriad of complex emotions. Perhaps one should recount the story on your behalf while you compose yourself.
No, it's okay. Now that I've remembered, I must face my memories head on. Shuyu, everyone, I cannot thank you enough for all your help. I'm ready to tell you my story, if you're willing to listen.
Please, Granny, don't force yourself. What happened in the past doesn't matter. I love you more than anything. Nothing you say can change that.
I know, dear child. My feelings for you are exactly the same. It is for this reason that you deserve to know the truth. Some time ago, I made a terrible mistake. One for which I could never atone.
Is this the sin that you mentioned in Joyun Karst? What happened?
I am, in truth, not a human being. My real form, one that I held for centuries, was that of a wild crane. I spent many, many years living on Mount Outsong, bathing in the soft breeze and drinking the sweet dew of the mountains. At some point, I somehow gained wisdom and sentience. The Lord of the Mountain, Cloud Retainer, became aware of my existence and began to share many stories with me. She even passed on the secret of cultivation to me. Though she never took me on as a formal disciple, I always saw her as my master. Whenever she took out her tools to work on mechanisms or new inventions, I would also stand next to her and watch. I even contemplated completing my training and becoming an adeptus in my own right. I followed her teachings, and time gradually passed us by. Until that fateful day 50 years ago.
50 years ago?
That's right. Master regaled me with many stories of her past deeds. From them, I learned how she had saved people from a similar crisis in the past. She was the one I looked up to the most. More than anything, I dreamt of becoming an adeptus like her. I wanted to travel the land like she had, relieving suffering wherever I went. But I was still far from being a real adeptus. I possessed no ability to take on human form and fit in with the crowd. Once she learned of my desires, Master prepared a special dose of human mimicry potion for me. She warned me that the potion's effects would only last 10 years, and if I were to fail to return to my original form at the end of that time, I would forever forget my past as a crane and become something neither human, beast, nor adeptus.
Oh no. So that was the source of your dementia all along.
Was it because of Grandpa?
Indeed, I fell in love. Though he was human, he had spent his entire life training on Mount Tianheng.
When we met, it was not only my first foray into the world below, but his as well. Although clumsy and impulsive as he was, you'd think he was the real strange bird among the two of us. But still, just like me, he cared deeply about the world and wanted, more than anything, to cleanse it of all pain and suffering. I could not help but fall for him. But my time continued to tick away. Those 10 years passed by in a flash. Yet I did not want to leave his side, so I...
Oh no, what happened next?
I committed an offense. I wanted to stay with him, even if it meant living a life full of pain and suffering, even if it meant that I would eventually turn into a monstrosity. I knew I had betrayed Master's hopes, but I was too ashamed to face her. So I wrote her a long letter instead and asked someone to leave it outside her abode. I was convinced that she would not support my decision, and I lacked the courage to speak to her face to face. In my shame, I fled and tried to hide from the world, such that no one would be able to find me again. But that was only the beginning of my troubles. I began to suffer from a strange illness. My memories became hazy and confused, and I could no longer keep myself awake. I understood that my pain was caused by my refusal to return to the life I was fated to lead. Along with my memories as a crane, I soon forgot the true cause of my suffering as well. I knew only that I had committed a sin. All I could do was pray for forgiveness, even if I had long forgotten what needed to be forgiven. Looking back, I was beyond lucky to have come across that traveling merchant at Wangshu Inn. It was such a fortunate coincidence that we were there at the same time. If it weren't for those soul-revitalizing tea pills, I probably would have...
Granny, what's wrong?
Coincidence? Why did I ever think it was a coincidence? Tea pills concocted using the blood of an adeptus? No, it couldn't be. Master, don't tell me. Back then, that merchant was actually...
Human custom would dictate the conferral of gifts to be in order when one's progeny is wedded, would it not? Consider the pills a symbol of one's best wishes.
So when I tried to conceal my name and mistakes from the world and hide myself away in perpetuity, the only person I managed to deceive was myself. You knew where I was all along.
One still remembers when you were but a fledgling. You possessed a certain fondness for a particular game. You would hide yourself among a group of wild cranes and ask one to pick you out from among the flock. One found you with such ease every time. 'Tis a truth most evident. One always recognizes one's own, no matter what form they may take.
Wait! Paimon's confused! So, Cloud Retainer, you found Yuendai again? But how? When? And what happened after that?
Perhaps it is now time for one to recount the rest of the tale. One was furious upon receiving your letter. Seized with anger, one set out to bring you to your senses.
Kann zweimal das nutzen? Okay. Warte. Ach, wenn man einmal hat man schon das zweite, okay. Warte, ist das frühere? Wie es früher war? Ich glaube schon.
In truth, one had more than a few misgivings about your chosen partner. As an exorcist, his talent was lacking. One could hardly say his skill with sigils was any better. But soon, one came to appreciate the devotion he bestowed upon you during your illness. He never uttered a complaint and rarely left your side. Unwilling to begrudge someone of such character, one decided to overlook his aforementioned deficiencies, glaring though they may have been. Wishing to grant you a life without regrets, one gathered many divine ingredients and used one's own blood to create a form of medicine. Though imperfect, it managed to suppress the more dire effects of your illness. As for how to deliver the medicine, after much contemplation, one eventually decided to perform the deed oneself. One took great care to alter one's features and select the appropriate attire. Only after meticulous scrutiny did one finally set out for Wangshu Inn. As one expected, you were most ignorant of one's true identity. You showed not even the slightest inkling of recognition. One was quite torn. Should one have celebrated the success of one's disguise, or mourn the loss of your acquaintance?
Ich habe gerade gedacht, die hat jetzt gerade Schnurrbart und Ding im Gesicht jetzt gerade in dem Moment. Deswegen. Ach, das blöde Ding.
Ja!
Was dafür, glaube ich, jetzt mal den Sprung nutzen sollen.
Ja! Nevertheless, one would speak to you about another matter, if you are amenable. Even considering your loss of memory, one was simply flabbergasted that you could so easily forget the consequences of consuming medicine infused with adeptal blood. Its proclivity to attract monsters is hardly that complicated of a concept to remember. To think that you tried to travel while weak from sickness and heavy with child. Had one not intervened to clear the fog, all of you would have been lost during the night. Yeah! Scatter!
Ach lol, man, das mach ich noch voll.
Scatter! Skyward! Scatter! Stray clouds converge! Skyward! Scatter! Skyward! Scatter!
Ach, war das die der Fähigkeit? Ah, ist doch der Fähigkeit.
Skyward! Scatter! Those monsters would hardly have pursued you with such ferocity without sufficient incentive. They were likely incited by the presence of godly remains. Said godly remains, in turn, were likely drawn to the trace of one scent on your body. One was, after all, an active participant in the Archon War. Some of the gods were likely shattered by contraptions of one's very making. In the end, one was relieved to see you endure through the night. At the break of dawn, one heard an infant's cry pierce through the air, and one saw you carefully cradle the child to your chest. Although certain mortal manners remain foreign to me, one could not help but be moved by your joy. To see you happy, that was more than enough.
So.
Yeah! Skyward! Now you should have a complete understanding of the events.
Wait! But if that's true, then the crane who took care of me when I was sick must also be...
Ah, one had almost neglected to recount the absurdities of that tale. Skyward! Scatter!
Ach, Lüge. Ich hab so aufgepasst, ich war gerade nur kurz verwirrt eben.
Just as you and I troubled one with her antics, so did you give one many a headache. Upon finding you burning with fever, one made plans to bring you back to one's abode for treatment. However, upon seeing one's form, you began to cry, refusing to get on one's back. When one asked you why, apparently you believed that one could not possibly be a true Adeptus, because all illuminated cranes are white from tip to toe. One had no choice but to apply powder to one's body to conceal the variegated nature of one's appearance. You became more than amenable enough when one stood before you devoid of any other coloring. It bears mentioning, however, that as a crane, Yuendai was nearly entirely pure white in color. Though you had never encountered her in that form, you still recognized the essence of her being. Perhaps fate brought you two together in more ways than one. Now all has been revealed. One owes you an apology, you and I. One recognized you upon your very entrance into Wanmin Restaurant. One has always viewed you as a disciple of equal standing with Ganyu and Shenhe. Indeed, one wished to bring your story to a satisfactory end with this visit to Liyue Harbor. Still, one could not reveal your identity right away. Had one simply informed you of all you had lost, all those cherished memories would merely have become the fictionalized account of another. Memories are most meaningful when recalled by those who lived through them. Would you not agree? Even if the process was painful and arduous to experience. Have you any further inquiries?
Master, I must ask, if you found me all those years ago, why did you leave me be, even though you knew about my mistake? Why did you not bring me back to Mount Outsong by force?
One has never regarded your action as a mistake. It was a simple choice, nothing more. When it is time for one's progeny to leave the nest, it is the responsibility of an elder to let them fly free. Yet, when your wings grow weary and the night grows dark, just know that you always have a place to which to return. 'Tis a refuge referred to by many a name in mortal writing. Home, nest, haven. Whatever its denomination may be, its essence remains quite unchanged. One speaks, of course, of a place not unlike one's own abode. One's disciples are free to come and go as they wish, yet the door remains forever open to those who wish to return. One rather hopes you count yourself among them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You and I. One expects you too have sensed the rapid deterioration of your condition as of late. Have you not? 40 years ago, you chose a path without a future. Though one used one's own blood to provide you with a few decades of extra time, it merely delayed the inevitable. One may have extended the path, yet one was unable to alter its final destination. Even the power of an Adeptus has its limits. Had your condition continued to deteriorate, you would have forgotten your life as a human entirely. In the end, you would have turned into a creature lacking in the ability to even comprehend its own monstrousness. Fortunately, you were able to avoid that scenario by reclaiming your memories. Though one sped the process along by providing some guidance, the result is entirely a reflection of your own effort.
So, what's gonna happen to Granny?
One will help her reclaim her original form as a wild crane. If it be fated, she may recover her sentience one day.
She's gotta go back to being a regular crane, huh?
Master, you've already done more than enough for me. I don't know how I could possibly repay your kindness. This is a better result than I could have ever hoped for. How much time do I have left?
Not long. The transformation is imminent.
Granny? Please don't leave, okay? You're all I have left. Please!
Don't be sad, dear child. Granny has led a wonderful life. My only regret is having to leave you behind. Don't forget to eat well, okay? A growing young lady like yourself needs lots of good food to grow big and strong. Promise Granny you'll take good care of yourself when I'm gone.
I promise, Granny. I'll do whatever you say.
Good girl, good girl. Don't worry. It's not goodbye forever. Granny's gonna become the most formidable crane in all of Mount Outsung. Granny will train day and night. I won't stop until I can turn into a human without having to rely on anything but my own power. When that day comes, we'll be able to live together again. You and I. How's that sound?
Good.
That's a good girl. Even though we won't see each other for a little while, as long as we both work hard, we're sure to meet again someday.
I'll eat well, Granny. I promise. And I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. I'll wait for you to come back.
That's a good girl. Then Granny really has no more regrets. I'm so sorry, Master. Thank you for everything.
You.
Let her be. At her age, crying is a natural, if not fitting, response to such an event. Tears are a necessary part of maturation. Sometimes there is scarcely a better vehicle to wash away the toll of stress and misery. Now that the issue has been resolved, you should also take a moment to relax. Give yourself some time to rest. Take a nap if you must. One will wake you in due time.
both believed we would see each other again, that our days of separation would finally end, and all my troubles would be behind me. If only things could stay this way forever.
A nightmare? Curious. If you're relaxed, shouldn't your dreams be pleasant?
It was a good dream. It's just...
You weren't ready to wake up. Eloquent as one may be, words of comfort are not one's strong suit. You are doing all you can. One can see your strength of will, your fearlessness in the face of danger. And so, whatever your dream may be, one believes that you shall achieve it. Of course, whenever the perils you face overwhelm you, or you become weary, one is always here for you. After all, as an elder, it is only right to look out for the young ones.
Grilled chicken drumsticks. Huh? Was Paimon sleeping just now? Oh, Paimon wasn't talking to you. Paimon had a dream about eating grilled chicken drumsticks, that's all.
Madam Adeptus?
Oh, Shuyu, you're awake. How do you feel?
I feel a little better. Thanks. I know I'll see Granny again someday, so I don't feel so sad anymore. Madam Adeptus, could I ask you something? Would you take me in as a disciple?
Oh, and have you reasons for this sudden interest?
I know Granny thought what she did back then was wrong. She felt really bad about it. But without that mistake, I would have never been born. Even though Granny lost her memories, she never forgot to show me how much she loved me. So, I thought maybe one day, I could become a cool Adeptus like you, and help a whole bunch of people, just like Granny wanted to do.
Upon some reflection, one supposes you are no mere mortal. The fact that Yuendai's blood flows through your veins is proof enough of that. If this is what you desire, one shall make it so.
Thank you so much, Madam Adeptus. No, I mean... Master.
Shuyu, are you sure about this? Paimon's gonna let you in on a little secret. We've seen Cloud Retainer's 2 other disciples, and they pretty much eat nothing but bitter herbs like Genshin and violet grass. If you join them, you'll never enjoy Wanmin Restaurant's delicious cooking ever again.
How utterly preposterous. One has never enforced such a rule. Every individual must find their own path to enlightenment. So long as one retains a pureness of spirit, one's dietary proclivities are quite irrelevant.
Well, you say that, but Paimon's not seeing any tasty treats up here now, is she?
Although Mount Outsong is rich in natural beauty, Its location does preclude access to certain finer mortal comforts. That is precisely why one plans to relocate to Liyue Harbor. Shu Yu shall have the honor of becoming one's first disciple in the human world.
Whoa! You're leaving Mount Outside?
One has never concerned oneself with the location of one's residence. From the very beginning, one has sought only solace and peace. Yet in the end, all of one's disciples ended up in Liyue Harbor. Ganyu, Shenhe, Yuandai, they all chose a life among the mortal world. One has reflected on this fact for many years now. One can only assume that it is due to some failing on one's part as an elder or master. A failing, perhaps, of recognizing what it was they truly wanted. One is most curious as to what aspect of Liyue Harbor could have enticed them to remain there. One could hardly offer an opinion on the matter, but perhaps some time in the harbor will prove instructive. Why are you all so silent?
Paimon is, just a bit shocked, that's all. So, does this mean we can grab a meal together in Liyue Harbor sometime?
One has precious little time to squander. However, if one finds oneself otherwise unoccupied, one would not be opposed to the idea. Assuming the identity of a human while residing in Liyue Harbor, you should take care to avoid disclosing one's true identity.
Don't worry, we'll help you keep it a secret. So, when can we expect to start seeing you in the city?
Perhaps in 2 days' time. One has some matters to see to before one's departure. Preparation is the key to success, after all. One plans to put up various items from one's collection for sale. The earnings should provide for a comfortable living in Liyue Harbor. One has already picked out a handsome property near Chuhu Rock. 'Tis no small purchase, but what is mortal life if not one expense after another?
Seems like you've really thought of everything. Then how about we meet up in Liyue Harbor in 2 days?
A sensible plan. See you then. Oh, also, why don't you take this suspense somnium mechanism as a souvenir? Anytime you should feel ill at ease in the future, you may try quieting your mind and sitting in meditation as you listen to its melodies. It might help you find a new perspective.
Awesome! Thanks, Cloud Retainer! Hey, didn't we promise Shincho that we'd tell him what we found out? Should we make a trip to the Feiyun Commerce Guild? It's totally up to you.